I belong to you.
Hi guys, it's Kelsey here. Welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be about Elliot and Olivia's relationship. You can call him Bensler, you can call him EO. I personally like EO better. I mean, I could talk about these two for hours. I could talk about them for days. I love them so much. I think their chemistry is just amazing, and between Mariska and Chris, I just think they're just amazing, phenomenal actors. I think they're amazing, phenomenal people, and you can definitely tell that when they're on screen together. You can definitely tell the amount of love and respect that they have for each other, and that's never gone away, even though Chris was gone for 10 years and now he's back. That certainly has not changed one bit. So their relationship is very complicated. It always has been very complicated, especially now that he's back. He's a widower. They're both single. Of course, I think Elliot thinks she's in a relationship, possibly with Noah's father, even though we know Noah's adopted. His biological father died. I think his biological mother died too, if I'm not mistaken. But Elliot doesn't know that, so that will be very interesting to see that dynamic next season. Hopefully we get to see that. So I want to talk about their past, what they were like in their past, and then the present when Chris came back, and then what their future will look like, hopefully in SVU next season, as well as OC next season. So in the past, you kind of see these little moments between the two of them. Season 1, they definitely did have some moments. After rewatching season 1, I definitely did see that there were little, flirty moments between the two of them. They would play around with each other. I think, in my opinion, Elliot was definitely attracted to Olivia. I think he developed a little bit of a crush on her. But as far as feelings go, I don't think they developed feelings for each other just yet in season 1. I think they weren't that deep yet. I think we don't know how long they had been partners on SVU. I want to say maybe about a year. They were only partners, so I think they were still kind of getting to know each other. Of course, Elliot was married to Kathy. They had their 4 kids, and Eli wasn't born yet. So, they were just, they were friends, partners, and that was pretty much it. They would, play around with each other, be kind of flirty with each other. If you rewatch season 1, there are definitely some good EO moments between the two of them. Season 2 through 5, those particular seasons, there weren't as many moments, but not until season 6, where Elliot and Kathy were separated, and you could kind of see there were some moments between the two of them, especially I remember Olivia getting jealous because Elliot was starting to date again. And she's like, I know you're on the rebound, but if you could keep that out of work, that would be great. And he just looks at her and just kind of walks away. So you can definitely tell that Olivia got jealous for sure. Elliot got jealous for sure, especially if she went on a date or if she was even talking to a guy, period. Like he got jealous and, super protective of her. One particular episode that comes to mind for me is Wrath. I think that's season 2 or 3. Oh Lord. Where this killer is murdering people, and it's tied to her cases that she investigated. So Elliot became really protective of her, and Olivia just kind of brushes it off and, no, I'm fine. And he says, no, you're I'm worried about you. I want a police officer guarding your apartment. She said, no, I'm fine. And then also in season 1, Stalked, there were a lot of moments too where this particular suspect, this creepy guy, was after her for some reason. And he was going after Olivia, and Elliot was very protective of her then. You remember he drops her off at her apartment and he says, "Blink your lights when you get inside." And she just says, "You're just gonna wait here all night until I do, right?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm stubborn." She even says that he's stubborn. So yeah, there were season 1, there are definitely moments. Seasons 2 through 5, not so much. Season 6, that's when it kind of started building back up again between the two of them, especially now that technically Elliot was available. Even though him and Kathy were separated. I don't think he dated that much when him and Kathy were separated. We do know Kathy dated. But that's going to be in a whole other video. So in season 7, after watching Fault for the first time, that was when I officially became an Elliot and Olivia shipper. That episode was just so powerful for me. It's a really dark episode. This, he's a rapist and a child molester. He kills this family just so he can take the kids, and Olivia gets caught in his crosshairs on the subway station. He has I think it's the little girl. She points his gun at him, he cuts her throat, she goes down, and then Elliot literally has to make a choice between going after Gaetano and saving Olivia, and he makes the choice between saving, he obviously chooses to save Olivia, and the way he freaks out, he thought he was going to lose her forever, and that's when in that moment, that there was something more than friends developing just between the two of them. They cared that much for each other. They loved each other that much. I think that's when Elliot realized he was in love with her. In my personal opinion, it could have been earlier than that, it could have been later than that, but after watching Fault for the first time, it definitely opened my eyes to see, I wanted to see them together. I wanted to see them as a couple. I believe they are soulmates. I do believe they belong together. So yeah, after watching Fault, I definitely was on the EO shipper train forever. Nobody can change my mind. If they can't, they can try. I will always ship the two of them. Always, always. So also in that episode, I think that's when Olivia realized her feelings for Elliot were more than just friends, more than just partners. I did post something on Twitter, which got so many likes. Thank you guys for all the likes on that tweet. I can't believe over 100 likes. Basically, what my tweet said was that Olivia left in season 7. At the end of season 7, she went to computer crimes after the events in Fault, because her feelings for Elliot just became too strong. And even in the episode after Fault, she even says, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, it was just too complicated. And then Elliot left Olivia at the end of season 12, he basically went to another country because I personally believe his feelings for her became way too strong too, and he couldn't handle it, so he did what he thought was the responsible thing. He's a Catholic man, he's a family man. He decided to leave the unit and Olivia to be with Kathy to repair their relationship, as well as the relationship that he has with his children, to be in their lives more. So I think that's the reason why he left, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people will agree with me on that. We still don't know the real reason why he left and basically ghosted her for 10 years. Seeing Olivia go through that between season 13 and season 22 when he does come back was just so heartbreaking. It's like really watching her going through a bad breakup. You see her angry in the beginning, you see her trying to deal with his departure, because I think at the back of her head she thinks, oh, he's coming back. And then at the end of the season 13 premiere, Cragen tells her that he put in his papers, there was nothing I could do, I'm sorry. And then she goes into the interrogation room and just cries her eyes out. And that was just so heartbreaking for me to watch. I know it was so heartbreaking for a lot of people to watch. And I think that was not only Olivia, I think that was Mariska too, because Chris was her best friend and he left. Of course, I think Mariska obviously knew why Chris left, but I do think that it was Olivia and Mariska all in that one moment in that scene, which was so powerful to watch. Because you work together with someone for over 12 years and, they're gone, they're not coming back. That's pretty devastating because you develop routines, you get into this habit, you spend a lot of time with that person. They even said, I spend more time with them than I do with my own family. So that was just, heartbreaking to watch. It was devastating to watch, and it made a lot of people upset. It made me upset because there was really no closure for Stabler. And they kind of made him out to be the bad guy, which he's not a bad person. Yeah, what he did wasn't right. He did leave without telling her. She had to find out from Cragen that he left. Like I said, we still don't know the real reason why he left. I'm hoping they explore that more next season, whether it's on SVU or OC. So hopefully we get more involved with that. So now flash forward to season 22 of SVU, where Elliot comes back in Return of the Prodigal Son, which, by the way, is a very fitting title because he really is the prodigal son. He left and he came back. So in the beginning of that episode, Olivia gets a 1013, which basically means an officer is involved or police officer is involved. She's on her way to her award ceremony. Finn's calling her, asking where she is. She says, I got a 1013. Finn says, everybody's waiting for you. So she stops her car and, she gets out and she said, what's going on? And there was a car bomb, and it turns out the victim was Kathy. And she's being loaded into the ambulance. Olivia's in shock, you can tell. She can't believe it because she hasn't seen Kathy in 10 years. And then she hears, Liv! And she turns around, and there is Elliot standing there, shocked. And all they can do, she walks closer to him, and all they can do is just stare at each other. They don't hug, they don't say much, they just stare at each other. The only thing he does say to her is, they tried to kill her, they tried to kill Kathy. And going through that episode, you can tell that Liv is going through the motions because of all the feelings that she buried, after he left, all the feelings that she had for him. They're just not coming back to the surface. Not only the feelings of love that she has for him, but also the feelings of anger and betrayal because he left her without telling her, he ghosted her. So I think there's, the hurt was still there, the anger and all the betrayal and all this stuff. She's asking, why is he back now? I'm sure that's going through her mind too. So definitely it was very emotional, very raw, very powerful. I didn't expect it to be as emotional as it was. They do have a conversation in the hospital after Olivia talks to Kathy, asking if she remembers what happened. And Kathy doesn't remember anything, so Elliot, they're in the hospital waiting room, and he apologizes to her for almost going AWOL in the interrogation room and trying to interrogate one of the suspects. He becomes involved, which he shouldn't be involved. But he does, because he's Stabler, he's very stubborn. That obviously hasn't changed about him. So he apologizes to her. He says, Liv, I'm sorry. And the old Stabler wouldn't have apologized unless he was forced to. So you can tell that he has definitely changed in the past 10 years. He's definitely grown. And Olivia says, you want to do this now, meaning having the conversation. And he kind of nods, if you notice. He kind of nods his head a little bit. And she basically lets him have it. She says, what are you sorry for? Are you sorry for walking away? Because that's basically what you did. She's like, I had to find out from Craig and that you left. And then he kind of starts to say something. He says, I thought about if I told you, and then she cuts him off again. So I don't know what he was going to say to her. I think maybe a lot of people are saying that he was going to maybe confess his feelings for her, but we don't know if he was going to do it that early yet. So we got that moment. It was very emotional, very raw. she basically lets out all the hurt, she basically lets him know how hurt and angry she was by the way he left, and he's trying to tell her, and of course she doesn't want to listen. She wants to let him have it. She says, "You were the single most important person in my life and you just disappeared." And then Elliot says, "I know, and I was afraid if I heard your voice, I wouldn't have been able to leave." I mean, that to me, that's saying I love you without saying I love you. I mean, that to me is something that you would write in fan fiction. That is something that would never be in a television script ever. Maybe in the editing process, but as far as the final cut goes, no. I could never picture Elliot Stabler saying that, and that's one of my favorite lines he's ever said. It's just it's beautiful and it makes you think. That was kind of a I love you confession, in my opinion. So at the end of that episode, Kathy dies. It's very devastating. I honestly didn't think they would kill Kathy off, but they did. And a lot of people are saying they only killed Kathy off just to bring Elliot and Olivia together. They could have gone the divorce route, but as far as Kathy dying, I mean, the writers chose that way for some reason. I remember listening to the podcast that Chris and Mariska did, saying how many times they had to rewrite that episode because it had to be just right. I know Chris had to be involved for sure, Mariska had to be involved for sure, because it was that delicate. They take their relationship with these characters very seriously, and they know a lot of fans do as well. So they wanted to have his appearance be the best way that they could act it out. They just wanted it to be a really good episode because they know a lot of people were upset at how there wasn't any closure when he left. So this was basically kind of opening that door to why he left. We got a little bit of an answer, sort of, but not really. So I'm hoping they dig into that next season. And then, of course, she guest stars on Organized Crime. They have the hand-holding moment, which is honestly, I think, my all-time favorite Elliot and Olivia moment so far, ever. The lingering handhold, like she reaches out for him and he doesn't want to let go. He closes his eyes too. If you really notice it, if you look up close, he doesn't want to let go. It's like he's savoring the moment with her. And of course, we got the letter. We still don't know what's in that letter. I don't think Eileen and Chris and Mariska and the writers of that show were expecting to be that big of a moment, but come on. That's pretty freaking romantic if you ask me. I think we don't know what's in that letter. I'm hoping we get to know what's in that letter. I know Chris and Mariska were teasing us with Instagram videos of what's in the letter. So if we do get it next season, we don't know. I'm hoping, because literally, guys, come on, stop teasing us. I mean, that's pretty freaking romantic. Elliot Stabler wrote Olivia Benson basically a love letter. That's something I can't picture the old Stabler ever doing. Because you notice Olivia's attitude, she didn't really want to be around him, it seemed. She was kind of, like I said, a lot of feelings were coming up to the surface for her. So definitely, I think after she read that letter, her attitude did a complete 180. I mean, she went to his apartment in the middle of the night to try and talk to him about the letter, and of course he couldn't. He was busy. That was at the beginnings of his PTSD as well. It just wasn't the right time. So I'm hoping next season there will be a right time to talk about that letter. Actually, before the handhold, the episode before that, we got the I love you, which on Twitter, someone leaked it out, and I kind of wish that it didn't leak out, but it was still surprising when I watched it when it aired. I couldn't believe that he said that, and some people are saying, well, he was in his PTSD trance when he said it, so he didn't really mean it, or he was hallucinating Kathy instead of actually talking to Olivia. And I don't think that's true. I think that Elliot, it slipped out for him. I don't think he meant to say it to her in that way, and especially in front of his kids. And you notice he covers it up by saying, I love you all, and he gets super emotional about it. But the way he looks at her when he says it, you can tell that it was meant for her. And Olivia was shocked, but I don't think she was as shocked as I thought she would be, which to me, I think he also says he loves her in that letter. But like I said, who knows what's in that letter. It's driving me crazy. It's driving us all crazy. And we also got the interrogation between Richard Wheatley, Angela, and Elliot. When Richard says, plot twist, there's another woman. Because Angela, in her crazy mind, somehow developed feelings for Elliot after he stupidly kissed her, which to me, that's not his fault. He was just in his PTSD, you know, he wasn't thinking clearly, you could tell. So we got that one true love of his life moment, and which was, I still can't believe it, no matter how many times I watch that. I mean, how did Richard know that? To me, in my opinion, he, you know, I think Richard had Elliot's apartment bugged, because how else would he have known that Elliot has feelings for Olivia? But we will see what happens with that if they go further into that next season as well. Because the I love you, I remember Eileen saying in an interview, saying that's going to hang over their relationship now. I do hope they go into more detail with that. We all want to go into more detail with that. So, yep, we shall see what happens with that. And then we also got Liv calling him L in the season finale of Organized Crime, which we didn't think would happen because, you know, she's trying to protect herself. She's been trying to guard her heart. I think he's been trying to protect her from Wheatley. He doesn't want her to go him to go after her. So their relationship definitely does need some healing for sure. I don't know how they feel about each other now. Is it the same as it was back then? Is it stronger now? I do think, and I do hope and pray that we do get some, healing in their relationship. In the next season, we don't know if there's going to be a time jump or not. So we shall see what happens with that. As far as their future is concerned, we all know what we would like to see. We would like them to see, we would like them to be in a relationship next season, whether it's on SVU or OC. I know SVU's coming up on their 500th episode. That's pretty freaking crazy. 500 episodes of television. That's insane. And we all want it to be a crossover, and we all want it to be a big Elliot and Olivia episode, which I don't know if it will be. I'm hoping it will be. I think it should be, in my opinion. But that's also going to be in another video, the 500th episode. What do you guys want to see? So I just want them to, first and foremost, I want them to do it the right way when they do get together. I don't want them to rush it. I don't want them to, as much as we want them to rush it. I mean, 22 years is a pretty freaking long time for it to be a slow burn between the two of them. But like I said, their relationship does need some healing. They do need to relearn each other. They're not the same people they were 10 years ago. So definitely there does need to be a conversation, a really deep, meaningful conversation between the two of them as to why he left. There's definitely going to be some anger. There's going to be some words flying around. So I'm hoping we do get to see that. So I just want them, to heal their friendship first before things turn romantic between the two of them. That's what I would like to see the most. And like I said, I just want them to do it the right way. And I know Eileen and Julie and Warren are writing right now. So I'm hoping between SVU and OC, we're going to get 48 episodes total between the two shows. So hopefully we do get a lot more EO moments than we did in Organized Crime's 8 episodes. We didn't get to see a whole lot in SVU. And also COVID, the timelines didn't match up either. That's why the diner scene got cut, unfortunately. So hopefully we get to see, you know, more lighthearted moments between the two of them now that he's back. Like I said, they do have to relearn each other. They need to learn who the person is. They've definitely grown. You know, she's captain now. She's a mom now. Elliot he's a grieving widower now. He needs to grieve for Kathy as well. So that's going to take some time. And I'm hoping Olivia will be there by his side to support him more. So yeah, I just can't wait to see what this next season is going to bring for Elliot and Olivia. Oh, by the way, they have a love theme now. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, if you haven't listened to it, I will try and link it in the description below. It's so beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. There are lots of fandom edits with the love theme, trying to fit every Elliot and Olivia moment between the two of them with the love theme attached to it. It's actually pretty funny, but at the same time, it's actually really beautiful, and it's emotional, and it's raw, and it's powerful. It's them. So I would like to know what you guys want to see next season in SVU and OC for Elliot and Olivia. Do you want to see them get together? Do you not want to see them get together? If so, why? What type of moments would you like to see between the two of them? Comment below, let me know. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you like this video. I will keep doing more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.